Welcome to Nordic Magic Link. Today I have my friend Dawn Wylde with me, and she is a sex and intimacy coach, dating coach, and she calls herself the Love Witch. And her practice is rooted in paganism, and I know she's also a fantastic Reiki healer. So welcome, Dawn.
Hi. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to just catch up with you.
Likewise, it's been a while.
It has. We both, left LA, but it was good
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Wonderful times in Topanga.
Yes. Ugh, love.
Yeah. So Dawn, today we're going to talk a little bit about your work with all the magic that you do, helping women find their power and attracting men, the right men to them.
Yes.
And I would like to just start with, you tell people a little bit about yourself, your story, and how you came to do this.
Sure. My story is like this twist and turn that evolves every day. As you've been in my world, you see that I'm constantly shifting and changing because the spiral in me, that's what I call the matriarchal or the collective way of structure, is more ebb and flow, more with like the cycles. So it's constantly changing and evolving. But when uh, when I reviewed, I I had entered the coaching world and I was doing a lot about sex, and I'm still doing a lot about sex. I'm a sex therapist. I still am happy to work with anyone who wants to talk about sex. My husband calls me a sex nerd. I'm talking at a conference about sex, so love me some sex talks. But I started to evolve into dating because as I was reflecting on my journey, my like soul journey, my self journey, and I have single friends and I have people who, you know, you may have been one of them who are hating on the apps and hating on dating and all of this stuff. And dating was some of the best times for me and how I found my husband, who I absolutely love and adore, and how I found myself, really, how I came into my confident self. And so I started creating this method because everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people who I was talking to were saying like, I'm on myself. I'm focusing on myself. I'm focusing on myself, and I agree. But in this collective world that we live in this collective conscious, it's really hard to do self work without others as mirrors. And I've learned through lots of research and lots of my own work and lots of clients that the most effective way to grow and to really grow deeply is actually dating and finding your divine love match. So I've been geeking out on it super hard. So much
Yes,
method.
you have a beautiful Facebook group where you go live and you share a lot of these methods, and they've been super helpful to me as well.
Thanks. I love that you're using them. And someone else in the group, I mean, everyone's, I'm hoping everyone, but people who tell me they're using, someone else just found their divine love match like a week ago and's been talking to me about it. So they do work. I call it desired rose duality of dating method. I explained to you why that is because it is a little witchy and woo woo, but
Which we love here on this channel.
yeah, and that's who I love. That's who I love working with. So that's why I was like, my people will get it.
Yeah.
um, yeah. So I don't know. Is there anything I don't know. Do you want me to talk about goddesses? Do you want me to talk about dating? Like, where do you want to go?
Well, so this is how you came to work with
Oh
dating.
yeah, I got off. Yes. Um, yes, I really want everyone to be like feel like they can have everything they ever wanted. And I'm not against people being single. If people wholeheartedly want to be single and that feels really good for them, then you know, I have a friend like that, and she thanks me all the time for not asking her who she's dating, because she's just really happy being by her soloness, and that's totally fine and great. But there are people who want love matches and have convinced themselves that, you know, they can't have it, or it might fall in their lap someday if it's meant to be, or all of these things. And I want to find those people, their divine love matches. I want to magnetize them, and I want them to know that they can have that too, that they don't have to have, like, just be like, oh, maybe that's an option, or maybe. Because that energy alone is not going to get you anyone.
Mm-mm.
So
And
yeah.
so how are you helping people manifest the right person into their lives?
Yeah. So it's a complex system, but one of the ways that, you know, I kind of gave a preview of is really getting into your magnetism. So I've been kind of staying away from manifesting. I feel manifesting in the way that I know is super patriarchal. Other people might do it differently. I do it differently, and I call it femifesting. But what actually it is you are the lighthouse. If you are in your confident, uh, a luminous being, if you are very confident about yourself, your self-worth, that you're the desired rose, you are the desirable one, you attract that energy. You light up a room. The example I give, you can be drop dead gorgeous, the most like the most beautiful woman in the entire world, but if you're constantly questioning yourself, you can feel that energy. um,
Mhm.
Whereas somebody who has confidence and walks in a room with that confidence and that magnetism and is like, I'm the fucking awesomest shit ever, that is way more going to attract. And it's actually something in my system, in my energetics of dating system, where I show how actually we find attractiveness is in our third eye. Our
Mm.
third eye is actually what is signaling us to attractive, because we're actually divine beings, right? So we're actually seeing the soul of somebody when we think it's attractive. Now, yes, there is a physical attribute to it, but someone who is really illuminating their soul energy, right, their magnetism, is going to appear more attractive than someone who's not, no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah.
Um, so how I help people really build this confidence, and right, because we love the woo, is through the goddesses. The goddesses can teach us so much, and they're powerhouses, right? They're not concerned. I mean, if you look at all these parts, they're gorgeous, but they're not concerned whether they're beautiful or not. They're concerned about the energy that they bring and what their specific powers and their gifts are. And by working with the goddesses, I've been working with the goddesses for years on my own. I was able to empower myself. And then when my clients, I used to do a lot of like work with like the Wylde women and like being shame free. I would use the goddesses. And then I turned it into dating, because, you know, there's a shit ton of goddesses that their stories are about love. And I think we've gotten really cynical about what we feel about love and we feel about that word. What I've been noticing, because, you know, I love to do research, um, is everyone talks about a relationship, but nobody talks about dating. So I wonder how all these people are getting into relationships.
Yeah.
And if you look at the goddesses, I mean, they were freaky deaky. Aphrodite was one of the main, you know, the big love goddesses, and you know, she was definitely dating and fooling around. But that empowers us to do that instead of um, feeling like, yeah, like the most common thing is just like your divine partner is going to like fall out of the sky one day and be with you. And although maybe that's happened, um, it's not likely.
Well, I love that you talked about being a lighthouse, because actually about 2 months ago, I started feeling like I was a lighthouse. Like I actually, in my meditation, all of a sudden I felt like I was as tall as a lighthouse, and I felt my light shining out, calling all my ships to me across a calm sea.
Yes, like a siren, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then I later I started listening to the books of Florence Scovel Shinn, I think her name is. She wrote The Game of Life and How to Play It about 100 years ago. And then that is one of her that is one of her affirmations is I now call to me all my ships across a calm sea, or something like that. And it really is, I know you don't like the word manifestation, but if we're talking about manifestation in the traditional sense, is that you've sent your energy towards something and now you're ready to receive it. You're actually calling it in. The sea is calm, and it's coming to you because you're a lighthouse. It's coming in towards your light. So I
Yes.
love that you brought that up also, because that's really been showing up in my journey lately.
Yeah, and that's how and how I talked about in one of my lives, is how I want you all to start every day. If you start your day right as if you've already met your divine love match, you feel into that, what that experience is, and you walk into a room, I bet you that's a lot different than if you wake up and be like, oh fuck, what another, sorry, I might swear, what another
You can
day,
swear.
like another day in this fucking world or whatever. And then
Yeah.
yeah, just like a correction, like it's not, I understand manifesting and it's really powerful. I think why I stay away or stay away from it is because I would like it to evolve to, yes, manifesting, right? Being that lighthouse and being that magnetic energy and calling all of your ships forward. And then something I teach my clients and what I recommend is, what are, to have that, to be on that path, what is the most pleasurable 3 steps you can take towards that path after you've manifested? I find that a lot of people skip the action part of manifesting. And when we do that, this is what I say is, like, if you're just staying in your house and you're never going out, or you're not going on the apps, or you're not doing anything, then unless like the mailman is your divine love match, like you're probably not going to come across it. And so there has to be some action part to that manifesting, and to feel that lighthouse every day and walk in the world in the lighthouse, and date in that lighthouse, and that is how you're going to get your divine love.
Yes. And I love that you focus so much on pleasure based daily life, because that's something that is very overlooked. And actually I think, I don't know when I heard you talk about this, maybe like a month ago or so, and it could have been a little longer ago, but I remember that I just felt like, okay, instead of just thinking like, what should I be doing right now, what do I feel like doing? And then when I did that, what happened is that I actually became so much more productive and creative. And so I was like, whoa, this is the right way to live. It's really, and it's so simple, but I don't know why we didn't think about it. It's like our world is so focused on just getting from A to B, and the straight way there, you need to get stuff done and just being productive, that we're just so far away from this mindset. So I really love that you're talking about this, and I would love to hear some more
Yeah, sure. So
ideas on that.
it's something, so I'm training the erotic blueprints, which I don't know. I mean, it is in Europe. I know that it's really happening in Australia, which I know is not Europe, but like overseas. Um, but I'm not sure about Sweden. But so the erotic blueprints was created by Jai. It's like, if you've ever heard of the love languages, it's the 5 sexual blueprints. And maybe if you ever want me back, we can go through that. That's its own thing. But the thing that she taught me was pleasure first. And the thing that I said is, I fought this the whole way through. It probably it was a year. I fought her probably for 6 months about pleasure first, because what I wanted to do was get on a coaching call and be coached and be like, this is what you need to do for your relationship. This is how you're going to have a better sex life. Like, and what she wanted to do every call in the beginning was pleasure first, which was like tuning into my body, me and Tim connecting with our eyes. We would do breathing practices. We would do all of these, yummy, juicy things. But I was like, why aren't we being coached? and so, I have clients who fight me on this too. Is she goes, Dawn, we're doing the thing. This is the most important thing. This is the thing. This is the thing that's going to get you the sex life, the relationship that you want. This is going to get you even money in abundance. And so what I will give you is what I say is pleasure first, but then I've advanced it a little to pleasure fuel. So pleasure first is starting your day off with a little bit of pleasure. And the examples I give, not everyone drinks coffee, but if you have a drink that you like, pick out your favorite mug, buy the extra $3 brand of coffee that's a little more organic or a little more yummy and juicy, or the tea, the special tea that you have in the morning. Just make it a little, have a tea set up. I love England, and I have a little tea set up, and I have afternoon tea with myself. But so make it like a special moment. And then if you're single, one of the luxuries of being in a divine partnership is you can have a partner who makes you coffee. So how I say that is set your coffee maker for your time. So the coffee is made and you're rolling out and you get on your robe and you have the coffee in your nice little, cup, or you have your nice little tea in your nice little cup with all of the yummy, juicy things. And you've already started your day out so much more pleasurably than if you just like roll out of bed. Oh, I got to make the coffee. I got to do this. And now you're like excited. You're excited to get out of bed because you're like, oh, I get my favorite mug and I get my favorite coffee and I get my favorite milk and I get my favorite tea and whatever it is. And it's already started so much more beautifully. And then I've advanced that. So I say, please have moments of pleasure fuel throughout the day. So pleasure fuel is these little pots of pleasure that we kind of just like fuel, right? Like just a gas tank that we put in. So we're collecting this. So when we have a really shitty day and we don't want to make coffee and we don't want to be in pleasure and we just want to, cry about it, which is totally fine. You have all of this fuel, this pleasure fuel that you've been containing when you were able to do that you're not going to sink as low as when your gas tank is empty. When you have no pleasure, when you have no abundance, when you have nothing, you're going to go really low and really dark. But if you have this pleasure resource, right, you're only going to be like upset for maybe that day, maybe half a day, maybe an hour. Like, something me and my partner talk about recently is like, you can decide to have a new moment any moment. You don't have to stay stuck in it. And it's not to do the spiritual bypassing thing. It's just, we don't want to get so low that we can't get out. And that's really what the pleasure resource is for. That's what the pleasure fuel is for. So what I say is like, just, can you, this comes actually from my friend Marissa, but can you add 1 more % of pleasure to your life? And how this works is like something I do with clients, basic, but like, can you light a candle when you're working? If you can't light a candle, can you have your like favorite pen when you're working? Can you make something in your working office that is just like brings a smile to your face? Maybe it's post-it notes. I have everything. I have all the things in front of me. I'm showing Emma like a special pens and special post-it notes and all the things, because when I look around my area, these little things bring me so much pleasure, so much joy, that work doesn't feel like, oh, it feels those moments, but it feels way more pleasurable and way more exciting because I'm surrounded by beautiful things.
Yeah, I love that. And it's a funny coincidence that your teacher, Jaya, was that her name? Mm-hmm. She actually lived in the house I lived in.
She lived in that
in Topanga. Yeah, they moved out, and then me and my ex-husband moved into that house.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Yes, I love Jaya. And if you want to learn more, I mean, obviously reach out to me, but also you can Netflix Sex, Love, and Goop. And they're the first 3 episodes. It's been a while since I watched it. 3 or 4 episodes is Jaya doing the erotic blueprint work. So that's a really good resource.
And it's based in Tantra, right? Or
Yeah, so she has it's lots, yes, Tantra, yes, somatic. She's a somatic sexologist, but yes, they learn about Tantra and a lot of somatic work, the body work, and then also um Tantra as it used to exist. Why I say that is like the original my husband actually is super into it. Um, is it's not that it's not about sex, but it's more about the Shakti energy. Our creative life force is that sexual empowerment, that eroticism that we feel. And so, like, when we're not creative, it's because we have a lot of sexual shame because we're actually tuning that part of us out by not allowing that Shakti, that creativity, that everything, that like orgasmic feeling beyond just the physical body to be happening. So yes, it's based on
so the more free you are in your sexuality, the more creative you are.
yes, you can access a ton of creativity and definitely. And when people come, I used to full on be a Reiki practitioner when people would just come to me for Reiki. Um, and they would say, I'm blocked creatively. I would always work on the sacral, um, which is, that Shakti energy. And some of my clients had orgasms on my table
Oh,
because I'm not afraid, of sex. I'm not afraid. And they were like, whoa. And then they would have like, write a book or do a podcast or get a new client or whatever it was. Cause, and it's
did
something
they
sorry.
did they have the orgasm from the Reiki healing?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Clearing out that system.
Yeah.
Some of them would have it on the table and some of them would have it later. And they'd be
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I just had like this random ass orgasm. And I'm like, yeah, you're shocked.
That sounds very healthy.
Yeah. And so that's kind of, and that's why I still do energetic. I call it the energetics of dating. Is I love clearing out the chakras because I find it to be way more effective. Again, here's the thing is I think we got really, and me too personally, really, really lost in the healing work. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the healing work. But I don't think we did a lot of the integration work. And so a lot of my clients come already having done a shit ton of healing. And what they really need is just what I call clearing out the cobwebs of the chakra system to just like all that old energy needs to be cleared out. And then they need to be integrated in their advanced level, in their expanded level that they did with all that healing work. So I don't want to like dive deep into all of that work again because we're only really supposed to do that work once. If we keep doing it, right? If you think about a tree or a flower, you keep doing the healing work and uprooting, then you're going to have a very damaged, plant that's not going to be as able to blossom as if you just do that healing work, you integrate it, you ground it in. Now you can have a really solid foundation of expansion. So
How do you integrate?
so I integrate through both working with the goddesses, their good integration, and the body. So me, I'm constantly moving. I'm saying digest, which is just moving your body. I'm watching my dogs. My dogs love to shake. If you've ever read The Body Keeps the Score, most animals shake. And it's because they're shaking off any like feelings of anxiety, even any feelings of excitement, like they're shaking it all off so that it doesn't stay stuck in your body. Because as humans, what we do is we contract and we keep all of that energy in our cells. And if you keep contracting, think about how much energy now you have a solid amount of energy in your body that is mixed with anxiety and fear and excitement and trauma and all of this stuff. But if you just shake it out, constantly shake your body. I ask my, I work with a lot of sexual trauma. I ask my sexual trauma people, they all come to me like this. They all come to me very like closed in. And I'm like, you guys just like open your legs and like shake your body and just keep opening that body, you're going to relax a lot of that blocking. And if you relax a lot of that blocking, a lot of that trauma, then we don't have to do so much of the healing work to get so deep. We just need to do the healing work that is on the surface, is instead of like, I'm feeling all of these emotions, you're just going to feel maybe one or two emotions, and that's going to be a lot easier and more accessible. So
Yeah.
integration is really just moving your body, dancing, yoga, putting bare feet on the ground, hugging a tree, rolling around. I do some really weird things now because I'm just constantly integrating myself, because I have healed myself to extreme cases that I really don't need to heal myself anymore. I have a lot of resistance to that. And instead, when I feel something come up from the past, I'm like, okay, I see you, I acknowledge you. And we're just going to shake it off, see if it's still sticking. And if it's not, then I just move about my day.
That makes sense. And that goes perfectly in hand with, moving the body and actually relaxing goes perfectly in hand with pleasure, just listening to your body and what do you need. And something interesting, I had a dream recently where I was sitting, excuse me, I was sitting in my apartment somewhere, and I was trying to hang up a painting, and then all of a sudden there's a hole in the wall and someone sticks in a painting in my hands. And I'm like annoyed. I'm like, why does the neighbor keep giving me all these paintings? I want to hang my own. And then I look in through the hole, and there's this woman sitting on the ground with long black hair. She's older, and she is painting. And she's the one that gave me the painting. And I look down at the painting that she gave me, and I look up, and then she is gone. And I look at the whole room, and everything is painted in the room to connect with the painting that she gave me. And then I woke up and I heard the word receive. And really, what it is like there's a bigger picture. And if I can just relax and receive, instead of me trying to like what I think is supposed to happen with my little mind, the little boxed mind that we walk around with, instead I can just relax and expand, and I will receive the information for my perfect place within this whole pattern that is already created on the other side in the world of ideas. So I love that, Dawn. Really love that.
I also love your dream. It looks, that's your thing. And I love that you can really interpret your dreams.
I love dreams, and and yeah, they always makes perfect sense to me with the symbolism. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay, where do we want to go from here? Yeah, so when you actually, we're going to move into talk about goddesses and how to work with the goddesses, because this is something you are very good at. And after you talked about it on a live, I don't know if it was last week or so, or maybe a little longer, but I did call in Freya because she had been coming up for me. And I shared this on Instagram, but when I was driving up north on a quest to find some clarity in my love life, her name was on a truck there, and it was like I was following Freya, the goddess of love, is like, yeah, go this way. But there's something I wanted to specifically about Freya. Oh yeah, the dream. So then after you did that live, I actually dreamt that you sang a song that wasn't your own, but it made you famous. And this is telling me is like, you know, when we're calling in the archetype of something, it's like we're really, you know, maybe it's not the natural personality that we have inside of us, but we can use it and it works. So that's like how I interpret it. And then I arrived on my gig. I had a concert and I arrived on horse. And and the horse is, you know, also like full of power, full of life force, very, very strong, and also in my mind at least connected to Freya. So I thought that was an interesting dream to have right after hearing your inspiration.
It's actually hilarious. You're tuning into something. So the goddesses that I'm personally working with, and you may find this hilarious, is Saraswati and Bridget, and they're both about the throat chakra.
Oh.
So the singing, I get told this. I have a spiritual mentor who lives in Bali, who I love, and she keeps saying, "Sing it, sing it," and I'm not a singer.
We
I'm
all are.
so, but as a child, I used to sing to the trees. You know, as a kid, you sing to everything, you sing all the time. So and you know, even in my early 20s, I would sing, and I don't know why I have so much resistance. So it's so funny you would say that. It's just the divine telling me one more time, you gotta start singing.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
both of them are about that. Now, I don't think I'm ever going to sing publicly, but I'm happy to call in my ships with my siren voice. That's totally fine.
Yes. Yes. This is so perfect. And this is exactly, you know, what I focus on in my teachings is that you can go out, you can sing yourself into trance, into meditation, you can sing to the trees and to the spirits that you wish to communicate with, and they love when you sing to them. So it really is the perfect tool in, you know, for nature-based spirituality and for don't want to, since I don't want to use the word manifestation, but calling in whatever you wish to
You
call
can use
in.
the word just as long as you have action after. That's totally
Okay, yeah, because I do have my Nordic manifestation chants and my app Nordic manifestation chants, so it would be very hard if I had to stop using the word all of a
I
sudden.
love stuff. Your stuff is great, but it's also action based. I even think when you led us through something, we talked about, you know, because I've done one of your journeys, right? And I think you talked, maybe you realized or didn't realize, is how are you going to incorporate this thing into your life, right? Do you remember
Mm.
that? Do you remember saying that? So again, that's just that little action part, and it's not that people aren't doing it. It's just like that concept of it falling into your lap is just like not going to happen if you manifest something and then you don't go towards that. But you even did that. So please call it manifestation.
Okay. Okay, good.
um, do you want me to tell you what I think about Freya and you calling Freya in?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So I have a card here, and Freya is one of the first goddesses I actually worked with when I was doing primarily sex work, because she has a lot of sexual freedom energy. Actually, I don't know if you know this about her.
Yeah.
And so on the card it says bold and unleash your adventurous side, take risks and be daring. So it sounds like you're doing that, and also uh, starting and I think expanding on doing adventurous, daring things when it comes to dating that maybe you weren't doing before. Because that's literally what I recommend when it comes to dating is to have fun, to experiment. I give my clients like challenges, or it's not really challenges, it's fun challenges or whatever, but like, you know, practicing your no, don't kiss anyone at the end of the date for 30 days. and you should see how much power that brings somebody, because for a lot of us feminine beings, our no is really hard. Our sacred no is super, super hard. And so when you do that, when and I've done this work, is like, I remember this one moment where this guy kept, he was doing it teasingly, he wasn't doing it forcefully, but we kept like doing that thing where we would almost kiss, but we wouldn't kiss. And we were, very, very close. But it was super fun. Another guy lifted me up in the air, like, whatever that movie is, I can't even remember. And we
Uh,
almost kissed again too.
Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, Dirty Dancing. And it was really fun because they got into it, I got into it. And so, with my clients, one of them got a trip paid for her out of that to Paris
Nice.
for that challenge. Because all of a sudden you're way more again into that magnetic energy, but you're not the average Jane anymore, right? You're enchanting to someone, you're bewitching, because they're like, what are you doing? And essentially you're just being you. I was just being me. My clients are just being them. They're not taking on anything, any of the challenges that I recommend. They're not taking anything on they can't do. And so I'm now thinking, because I've been pondering this, is the countryside. So this might be something to, create something around, to get really creative. And I liked your idea when we were talking off about hiking, like meeting someone first for like a day date, hiking or being in nature. I think it's really important for you, right? That's really aligned with who you are. So if somebody's like, oh, I don't want to hike, like, you're, well, check, bye, like that's that.
Yeah.
But you can get really creative, and like you could go on a picnic date, you could do all of these different day dates to see if you want to expand past the day date. And I think it would be a fun little already challenge for you.
Yeah. And just to update everyone listening, so what Dawn is talking about is that I got divorced almost 2 years ago. We split up, and I've hardly dated at all. And Dawn recommended to get a dating app, so I finally did. And then the issue is that I live in the countryside in Sweden, and if I go on a date, I would love to have a beer or a glass of wine, but in Sweden you cannot even have one drink and drive. So it's a little bit tricky, and there aren't any taxis around either. So this is the issue she's referring to. So I'll have to update everyone on that later. What happens with my dating life, the countryside of Sweden.
You can make a vlog, because I bet you're not the only one with this problem.
Could be. I do see a lot of young women, actually, because I'm in a lot of Facebook groups with people looking to rent cabins in the countryside, and I see a lot of young women now who are looking for cabins. They want to move, and they're just them and their dog or their cat, and they want to live somewhere far out in the countryside. So it's not just me; it's a lot of people who are wanting to return to a more natural environment.
Yeah, and then you guys could do like a woman pod, and then you guys could help each other out on dates. Like, you don't all have to be going out on dates at the same time. You could be drivers.
Yeah, one sober driver.
Sober driver. We used to do that with my friends. We were quite responsible, amazingly. We would take turns as sober driver. We would take turns who it was for the night.
I love that.
So you can do that.
Yeah, I need to connect with
But it means
girls.
spill the beans.
No, that's good. I just wanted to make sure everyone know what we're talking about.
And then also, because this was like our sidebar conversation, but also something, I know you're on one dating app, but something I wanted to say is get on all of them, and just be the biggest you can be. And on the ones that you are like, ugh, like maybe like Tinder gives that sour taste in your mouth or something, I don't know. I want you to be like the most on Tinder. Like this is who I am. This is what I'm looking for. Like da da da. Because you're gonna weed all. Here's the false. I check out profiles all the time. I do people's profiles. Essentially all the people's profiles I've done, they found people within a couple weeks of who they were aligned with, that they weren't finding anyone they were aligned with, because this is what the profiles look like, guys. They look like nothing. They have like a scenic picture, no faces, and they don't answer any of the questions. That gives off such a fuckboy vibe that I can't even tell you. Or they'll like say something like, I just want to have fun and see where it goes. Okay, that's also very fuckboy vibe. Like that's like so when I am talking, what I recommend, and nobody asked me to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you, is I recommend that you do 3 to 4 sentences on your profile. I recommend you have something which I call the titty flash. I learned that from my coach of mine, which is like grabs your attention. So my titty flash is, I'm a chess master. Bet you can't beat me. Or something like that. It's like some random fact. For you, it might be the Nordic, like that's fucking cool. Like,
I have one that says I want to live in a lighthouse. Is that possible?
yes. See, that's great, because all of a sudden that grabs your attention, right? Like if somebody titty flash, it grabs your attention. So you're like, okay, this person is saying something. And then the other ones, I want you to be honest. Now you don't have to be like super deep, but it's something like, I'm really looking for a partner that I can gel with, who likes communicating and likes hikes, like whatever. But to make sure that you're saying, I want a person to be in a relationship. If that's what you desire, say that. And a lot of people avoid saying that, and I'm not quite sure, but I think it's because they feel like they won't get as many matches, and you won't, but you won't get as many fuckboy energy. Like you'll just get the ones that want to be in a relationship. So you just did your own work of canceling out people. So that's what I recommend. And then definitely have pictures of yourself. And I always like to like mix it up. So if you're a male bodied or gendered person or masculine energy person, what I recommend, I've heard a lot of this from the comments of my feminine being clients, is do not put any pictures with any other women in your profiles. They will skip that. Even if it's your sister, they don't fucking know that. So don't do that. And then what I recommend is to have like a cutesy pic, like a very like cute, charming pic. Maybe it's out in nature, like whatever, cutesy pic. A sexy pic, don't make that your first pic. And one like super casual, like in PJs or sweats or whatever, holding a dog or just drinking coffee or whatever. The cutesy pic or the chillin' one, like when I was dating, I had a onesie on, and that was my first pic. Yeah, I got a lot of likes for that, got a lot of dates for that. So you figure out what it is, but not the sexy pic, because again, it's not that I'm against sex or whatever, or you getting it in. But the sexy pic is gonna give off that vibe. It's gonna get off that vibe that I'm here to hook up. And if you're not here to hook up, then don't do that. Now, if you are here to hook up, by all means, put that sexy pic front and center. Say, hey, I'm looking for a good time, not a long time, like whatever you got to do. But
yeah, it could be you're looking for both, could be, yeah, you would love to find your love match, but you're also open for fuckboys if they're nice enough. You never know.
I might press you on that, because what I would say is, what do you really want? Do you really want a fuckboy, or do you really want a divine partner?
You're asking me.
I'm asking you, I'm asking everyone, is really, if you're really okay with one or the other. But what I find is somebody really wants a partner and they're too shy to say it.
Yeah, I think at the moment I'm fine either way. I actually feel completely fine just being by myself. I would love to have that wonderful big romance, you know, that just feels completely amazing. But I also just am in love with myself at the moment. You know, I've really worked with self-love over these last few months. So
And
I
I
think
get
I can handle fuckboys.
great. Yes.
I don't know if they can handle me, but
you hear that? I love that. That's great. What I would start doing then, and we'll use your word as manifesting. I would start manifesting experiences then, like getting trips paid for, or like doing crazy wild shit, adventures. Be daring. That's what I would start doing if you're okay with like the solo life. But it's nice to have experiences with people and get to know people. I've had really amazing experiences. Uh I briefly dated for like 2 days a Polish guy in England, and he bought me roses and he took me to like one of the most fanciest Indian restaurants because that's where he like worked, and he got me a watch, and it was like this crazy wild love affair. And you know, you can have some pretty cool experiences.
wow. That sounds fun.
So that's what, you know, that was the same with the Paris trip with my other client. It's just, you know, I would start tuning in what kind of experiences, and do you want to have it by yourself, or do you want to have somebody that's, you know, nice for that moment in time?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess those are the questions you need to ask yourself. Fun. Yeah, I feel like it got very personal all of a sudden.
Yeah, we can take it from, I mean, we use ourselves as examples, but this is for really anyone. And
Yeah.
I think the best advice I can just give, and you knew exactly the answer, and that's great. And so I accept that answer. Um, is just to be honest with yourself. And when you're honest with yourself, then be honest with the world. Because what I see more than ever is people trying to convince themselves of something that they don't actually want.
Mm.
And that goes vice versa. Like I said, my friend who is very excited when I don't ask about a relationship, I just got the vibe that she really doesn't want to be in a relationship. So that's not a question I need to ask her. And um, so she got real with herself and just like, I'm supposed to want to be with somebody, but like you said, I love myself. I love my life. I like doing it my way. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay. That's totally great.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I think we skipped a little bit about how you actually work with the goddesses
Oh my gosh, we did.
embodiment and how they can help you.
So I work with 16 goddesses, and I'm not going to one in my work with my clients, and they're each aligned. So they're the duality, right? They're the dark and light, which I also don't love those words, but because some of my dark goddesses are the best magnetic, amazing goddesses ever. I mean, one of the dark goddesses is Mary Magdalene. She's my main homie. You'll see I talk about the goddesses like they're my friends, because they are. Um, and what I just recommend with people who aren't, you know, doing the advanced work with me, just like you did, is to pick one that is calling to you. And the goddesses are not shy, you all. Mary Magdalene picked me, Freya picked you. Like they're not freaking shy. So you can literally just ask, hey, who wants to work with me today? Right? And they'll come up. So like I said, Saraswati and Bridget keep coming. They're both the throat chakra, keep coming up for me. And I know it, you know, I keep wanting it to be different. And I know it. I know the answer because they're like, we're here, bitch, and we're not like, going anywhere. So
Start singing.
start singing and we'll go away. But you know, so it's good, you know, I personally like cards or the oracle cards to know the energies, or you can look them up specifically, or you may just know the goddess, right? I knew Mary Magdalene a lot before I looked up a card about her, just because even though I'm not super religious, my family is Catholic. But my mom was always pro Mary Magdalene and said that she really got the shit out of the stick, if you know anything about religion. And so my story with Mary Magdalene, how I started actually working with the goddesses, is I was at Catholic church. I do it with my grandparents on Christmas, and this priest was just saying such lunacy about gay marriage, and I just had to like tone him out. I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to listen to this. I don't want to be part of this. And kind of being like a little kid, like, you know, I'm in my 20s, and I'm like doing the thing where I'm just like, can we leave? I just wanted to go. And all of a sudden, you know, I shit you not, it's clear, it's so clear, so right in my ear was just like, ooh, I like you, bitch. And I was like, who the fuck just said that? Like, and I'm looking at my sister and I'm like, did you just say something? And she's like, no, we're at church. And she, you know, Mary Magdalene starts laughing, and I just knew, and totally tuned out, started talking to her. How I recommend, if you really want to get personal with a goddess, one, treat them like they're your friend, right? You're not, don't treat them like they're the master, because they will fucking own the room if you do that. And two, don't treat them like you're demanding things of them. Treat them like you would a friendship. So I would talk to Mary Magdalene. I would set up altar space. I would talk to her at first journaling. Now I can just channel her. But when I would first do it, and I could tell the difference, like she knew how to spell things I didn't know how to spell. She said shit that I didn't say. Like she would say it. I like talking to my guides or goddesses or anything in this like very like bitch, shit, whatever friendly way. I think it neutralizes the relationship. But if that's not you, that's not you. You don't have to do that. But she knew that about me. She knew that I didn't want it to be like, oh, Mary Magdalene, like bow down to you energy. She knew that I wanted it to be more casual. But she would also say like enlightened shit to me. Like she would say some pretty powerful stuff. So that's kind of how I started working. And then I developed from Ishtar and Anana, so that's heaven and earth energy. I developed through their crown, which is the 8-star crown, but it's actually the 16, because it does the light and dark, right, of every one of those. And it follows with my 8 chakra system. So I've really created this like crazy intricate system that I feel like I'm the only one that gets, but it fucking works. And what I asked with the goddesses is, you're going to pick a goddess, right? We've picked Freya. I picked Bridget. Whoever's calling to you, I want you to ask them, what energy do I need to be working with? What energy do you want me working with? And they'll tell you, right? Freya told you probably. And, you know, fucking, it's so obvious they made you bring up a dream that it's what they're saying to me. That's what I like about the goddesses, is they're just freaking direct and bold and very like, you don't have to, it's not a mystery with them. It's not very mysterious. And then I would start looking into it, start talking to them. Yes, following the signs, know their signs. Like something Freya's calling in for me to let you know is one of her signs is a rainbow. So just letting you know, she keeps, every time I look at the card, she keeps showing me this rainbow in this card. But like start tuning in, and then also like start exploring. Like I've been exploring, you know, when I don't know something, like I didn't really know Bridget hardcore, and I didn't know why she was showing up so much, but essentially she is the Celtic goddess of that fiery, powerful energy in your throat chakra, which was Saraswati, which is in Hinduism. That's her whole thing, is the arts, the music, the throat chakra. So I was like, why do I keep pulling this Bridget card? I'm like, I'm already fiery. I don't need to be more fiery, but it was more about the throat.
Yeah.
So that's how, if you don't do like my system work, is how just pick a goddess and work with them. What I recommend is, when you're building relationships with goddesses, is to work with them for at least a month, if not more. I now have, like I said, I work with 16 goddesses. So I can pretty much switch day to day. But like I said, I've probably worked with Mary Magdalene the longest. Another one I've worked with really long is Persephone's. Lilith for a good amount of time, right? See, I get attracted to those dark goddesses. There are light goddesses on these sides. For Mary Magdalene, it would be Mary energy or mother energy. Is going to be that lighter side. It doesn't matter the darkness or the light, they're all powerful. But I just tend to go towards dark goddesses where other people might go towards light goddesses. Freya's kind of one of those in between. It would depend on your belief. I can say she could be a dark or a light goddess.
What what do you mean, dark in a way of
just the way
to occult areas, or what do you mean?
Oh, so this is why I just think we gotta like find new terms for everything. Dark goddesses are the more like shunned goddesses. Like the more like Lilith is, I don't know if you know anything about Lilith, but like in some cultures, Lilith is really like she's a vampire, she's evil, she's like not good. She's not good. 11:11 is on my clock, just as everyone. And so Mary Magdalene was, whore. She's not well liked. Yeah. So like they have a shadow part to them that the light, or like Mother Mary's, everyone supposedly loves Mother Mary, can't say anything bad about her, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe Freya as rich as you do, but I would.
Yeah, I don't think there's she's shunned in any way. She is known to be wild and a sex goddess, fertility, love, spring. She also helps the dead people cross over. But yeah, no one has any like bad ideas about her. I've never heard anything about that. She is like the most famous Norse goddess, I guess.
Yeah, so that's really good and helpful for me to know, because it isn't an energy I work with as much. And if we're looking at it through a Western context, they, because the Western is, don't even get me started. They might look at the sexual and the wildness as something more shadowy. Whereas I'm glad in your culture, no, that's fucking awesome, because it is.
Yeah. And she's a magician. I mean, she's a high priestess, or she creates with magic. Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah. So she's a good one. Yeah, so when you're calling in the goddess you feel called to work with, you sort of just feel their energy. And to me it felt a little bit like, because it doesn't feel like Freya is taking over me. It just feels like I am connecting to that part of me that's already like that, or is more embodying.
We all have
the archetype.
Yes, the archetype. And we all have these soul aligned energies, because our soul aligned energies are these energies. That's why everything else isn't, the part of you that doesn't feel bold and adventurous and daring and like this wild woman isn't true, right? It's actually a falsehood, because it's so clear to me that you are definitely a wild woman. And so, and so something that's saying that you're not is just a falsehood. And so they're calling up your soul aligned energy. That's what they're calling up. And I agree. They're not taking over your body. I don't want them to take over your body. Do not let them take over your body. It's all about calling that part of you in and up. And what I recommend is dating, like before, calling that energy in. If you come in bold and adventurous and sexy and empowered, it's way different than coming in an energy of like, I don't know this person. I'm shy. I don't know what to do. Right. And I'm not saying you have to, like, I'm loud as F, but I'm not saying you have to be that. You can just hold that energy. And that, like a lighthouse, like we talked about, is the thing that's vibrating out.
Yeah. Yeah. So you could still be completely quiet and maybe on the outside seem shy, but you have that energy. That's just, yeah, I like that. That's beautiful.
And you wouldn't appear shy, though. You would appear like mysterious or
Right.
seductive or intriguing. It'd be a
Yeah.
defeated word. Um, interesting.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah.
But
I
you
love
don't have,
that.
yeah, you're right. You don't have to be anything that you're not, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Any more questions?
Anything else about goddesses and working with goddesses, or anything else you want to?
I'm looking at them. Oh, well, I'm big about what I call temple work. Other people might call it, making a sacred space or an altar. But why I call it temple work is because I literally set up a space, kind of like if I was back in the day when we did have temples, right? If I was honoring the goddesses. So I have a lot of things, like I have this little chalice that represents Aphrodite. I have this sword that represents Athena. I have a picture of Aphrodite is a lot because what I'm doing is love. So Aphrodite is like a lot everywhere. But it looks like Freya could be the other one. Uh, and so I want you to create your own temple space, and that will really help you embody the goddess. And again, specifically, like, I don't want you working with all the goddesses. I want you to pick one and create a space, either like a sacred space honoring that goddess, or if you can have like a room honoring the goddess, like a temple, setting it up like a temple, then you're always in that goddess practice. And the real truth of the matter is to get in tune with that your goddess energy. It's not actually, that temple space is not actually about them, it's about you. And treating yourself like the goddess that you are, again, with the pleasure. All of this stuff is so that we start really remembering that we're more than just people here on earth doing the basic earth thing, but that we're actually high vibrational energetic beings, and that we can actually honor and love and give ourselves pleasure and joy and magnetism and live these wildly abundant creative lives. And we don't just have to be doing the 9 to 5 thing.
Yes, I love that. Yeah. Yeah, because we are infinite spirit, all of us, and we're really delusional when we think that we're the little personality. So, whenever people are saying, you're trying to manifest something and you're seeing yourself in a certain way, and this is what you bring out and talk to people about. If someone says you're delusional, no, you're delusional if you're not realizing that you're all of that. And if you have a desire for something, that is your soul telling you this is the direction you should go. There's something for you there. I believe that the soul, speaks through the heart and your passion. So if you're passionate about something, then go in that direction.
Yeah.
Don't. Yeah.
I 100% agree. And I love that. And that's what I've been telling people is like, I think the world is backwards. And start looking at it that way. What you're being told is to be, in a box. And I'm like, get me far away from this fucking box, because that box, I have no idea. Right now, I've done so much work that I have no idea. That box seems hilarious to me. I'm like, why? Would I ever? And I used to really put myself in that box, right? Like really put
Yeah,
myself
me
in
too.
that box. But now I'm like, what? That's hilarious. I can't. People actually believe that way? That's crazy.
Yeah, they're delusional about themselves.
It's totally the falsehood.
I love just switching that around,
And
Just
that's what
how
I
you
say
succeed.
about dating is everything is in your favor. Nothing is against you. This whole world is designed to be in your favor. So the apps are not against you. Dating's not against you. There are divine love matches out there for you. They can easily come to you. It's all of that delusional falsehoods that you're saying, which is creating that reality. But if you're like, today is the day I find my divine love match, magnetize to me. If you live in the reality that anywhere, anytime you can meet your person in any way, it's totally different.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, Dawn, is there anything else you want to share before I ask you to share your website and promotional stuff? And
no, this is so good. I geek out over this shit. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, you fell out for a second. What did you say?
Oh, I said thank you for having me on. It's just so good to talk about this stuff.
Thank you for being here. I love that you wanted to come on here and share your wisdom with everyone listening here. Yay.
Us little witches.
Yeah. So, yeah, tell people where they can find you and all the stuff you're offering.
Sure. So my main thing right now is Facebook. I'm Dawn Wylde, spelled Wylde. And I go by the Love Witch. You'll see my group, which is the one that me and Emma are talking about, which is the Desired Rose duality of dating for witches looking for love. I think that's what it's called. But that's kind of like my main free resource. You can get a lot of content. You can get a lot of lives. That's like kind of where you can begin. But what I wanted, and then I have a Joyful Body is my website. I'm not going to lie, don't use that often. And then the Love Witch XO is my Instagram. That's also something I don't use a lot of. But they're there. They exist. So you can check them out. And then the thing I wanted to specifically do, I actually have tuned in with myself and I'm switching it, is I wanted to just give you guys a little offering as, kind of like a thank you, just a thing that I want to gift. And so for anyone who watches this podcast, it's going to be 20. I don't know how that translates in all the different money, but it's going to be a 30-minute session. And I actually want to do energetic clearing. That's what I'm feeling called to do, is the clearing out the cobwebs, so that we can all get our systems really regulated and integrated and expanded. So we're not bringing in any of the old, and we're really in that spring weather. So that's what I'm going to gift. And then I also am going to include my my top 10 dating journal prompts, love prompts.
Mm-hmm.
So and Emma's done them and they've worked. So that's what I'm just going to gift you guys. That's kind of just my little promo. So feel free.
And so if people jump on the 30-minute deal you have, is that on Zoom or how does that work?
Yeah, it will be on Zoom, and I'll give you I don't know if you're going to put like the show notes or anything, but I'll give you a calendar link and they can just book it.
Yeah, I can put all the links you want in the show notes.
Yeah, they can just book it. And then easy peasy lemon squeezy. It'll be on Zoom. I'll give you lots of chakra work. Maybe we'll even pull some goddess cards for you. I like to, and I will say it is 30-ish minutes. I live in flow time, so I'm never gonna like leave you hanging and be like, oh, well, done now. If it needs to go longer, I'm more than happy to do longer.
Yeah. Oh, that is a wonderful offering you have there. And if anyone is looking to call in their divine love match, or they just want to clear their energy to see what's available to them, in love or in goddess work or God work, if there are any men here, they should definitely jump on that. That is a beautiful offering, and I highly recommend Dawn. So, Dawn, thank you so much for being here on Nordic Magic Link. And Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Emma.
Thanks for listening, guys.